producer, you're a musician, you're a songwriter, you're an activist. What would you say has gone into solidifying the Rocky Dawuni brand?
Well, I mean, to really explain what has been what has supported me over the years, I think that my longevity and my consistency has been a product of always striving for excellence personally, and then also having a sense of constant education, learning new things, being open to innovation, being open to new sounds. I'm constantly looking for new things that will help me enrich my songwriting and really advance me as a musician. So it has made my work never static or stagnant.
Right.
It has always been very dynamic because it always represents the sentiments of the time, at the same time to be steeped in the originality that I bring into it. And I feel that that is what has really helped me to, create a very solid, brand that is great, records. I put a lot of energy in records, put energy in my videos. I put energy in the places where I shoot my video. I make sure my content really is meaningful. And I think all of those things have helped me to be able to strive for that excellence that people compare, are certain with my records.
It's undeniable. It is definitely undeniable. But when you started, right, in music, did you envision that you'll get to this point that you have gotten to so far, going beyond the borders of Ghana, of Africa, and to the rest of the world?
You can never be able to predict, how far your music will get. But you have to have a vision. And you have to have an aim as to how possible you can be able to extend your talent. And I believe that that will inform the amount of sacrifice and energy you put into making that dream manifest. When I was growing up, I saw my music as not only within Ghana. I saw my music that it was a music that was carrying a certain message. A message of Black people, a message of hope, a message of empowerment. So I saw it as something that was, will be ideal for all the human family, both within Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world. So I decided that that will be the market that I wanted to kind of impact. So I worked hard every step of the way. I studied hard in terms of music. I educated myself. I moved into those markets and started creating, kind of a presence in those markets. And I think that through that long-term vision and also creating the work ethic and also the methodology by which I could achieve the dreams, I think that really helped me in terms of realizing it. But I could not predict the scope of where the extent to which it could happen. You just have to put in what you can control, and that is putting in the hard work and having that work ethic, for success. So that when success comes, you are right in the flow.
You're already ready. So it's not like you're going to be heckling or
Exactly.
I totally understand that. Now, mentioning Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the world, you are a Ghana man through and through, right? You've been around the world, you spend your time in other places around the world, but you live in Ghana.
Yes.
So what I would like you to share with me is what your favorite thing to do is while you are in Ghana.
Well, first of all, apart from music, I love farming. So I have farms. I have a coconut farm, I have a cocoa farm. I grow a lot of vegetables because I believe that, sometimes the food stream can be, I'm a vegetarian. So, people use pests and chemicals and all of that, and I try to really get really clean food.
Right, so you're controlling what you ingest.
Yeah, what you ingest. And then at the same time, too, I believe that it's something that was part of all of us, our society growing up. We always had farms.
Yes.
And I believe that even right now in this economic situation, people have to go back to those origins and start creating gardens, means by which you can be able to at least take care of the immediate family. So I see farming as a means for solid foundation, and then at the same time too, I grew up with it. So I do that. And then apart from that, I'm also heavily into our traditional culture. and all of that. I just actually returned from the Volta region. I was out there for the Hogbechocho Festival.
Okay.
You know, so I joined
Did you
the people.
enjoy it?
It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was really a great expression of our culture. The Yana came with, you know, I mean, the northern culture and the Dagbon culture was on full display there, you know, and then the president was there. The Aomefia was there, you know. I mean, it was really a showcase of the cultural richness of our country, and also everybody there, you know, we felt that, you know, with what is going on in the Volta region right now, there's a need too for a national solidarity. All of us really supporting our brothers and sisters there as they go through these challenging times, you know. So it was a great time for me, and I had a great time celebrating, you know, getting my favorite akpala, you know, and all of that. I'm vegetarian, so they made it without no fish and no meat, but it was incredible.
Oh, so what would that be then? So you eat the akpala?
Yeah, and the vegetables, the feklidechi and a lot of vegetables in the soup, you know, and all of that. It was incredible.
Nice. But how you speak about it, I mean, you're whetting my appetite for the future. I've never been to, you know, any festival. Yes. Any festival at all. So
you have to make it a point, because all our festivals are, you know, these are custodians of our history. Our national identity, our national culture. And I feel that everybody, every Ghanaian should not only know their culture, but also learn the culture of our various tribes who constitute our nation. And I think in that way too, it will be a foundation for more peace building and understanding. And
you can get to relate with the other tribes and why they do what they do and how they do what they do. I get that.
Exactly.
I get that totally. Like I said, you've whet my appetite, so fingers crossed. Hopefully, in the coming months and years, I'm able to attend some festivals. But let's talk about activism, right? You're deep into activism. You are fully focused on activism and music activism. What informed the decision to do that, you know, and also specifically through your music?
You know, I feel that, you know, every person, whether you're a musician or you are every vocation that God calls you to, you have the ability or the opportunity to transform that for social impact.
Right.
Social impact meaning that you have to be a part of the community in which you are, whether it's a small community or a bigger community or a national community. You know, so for me as a musician, musicians always have a unique opportunity to not only understand what's going on in the society, but they also distill information, and they're kind of a temperature keeper as to what is going on. What is going on within the social framework, you know. So you are able to articulate that in a great way. So
and you have the freedom to do that.
The freedom to do that. So you are a communicator, both to the people and both for the people. So if there are important issues around, the best person that can really be able to articulate and have that type of cultural intelligence and empathy to be able to articulate it in a way that people can resonate with is musicians and artists, because your perspective is unique, and you can also present it in a way where everybody can understand the value of it, you know. So I see that power and I recognize that power, and I have also been an advocate for that power to play a meaningful role, not only within the framework of you know, national initiatives, but also global initiatives. You know, so it's led me not only working locally, but also collaborating with organizations like the United Nations and with my role as a UN Goodwill Ambassador. And, you know, it's been a proactive thing for me because I've been involved in both a lot of the leadership initiatives. You know, I was actually with all the, you know, the heads of environment for Africa when they met in Addis Ababa recently. And I also joined a lot of global leaders to the United Nations UNGA that just happened in New York. So I've been within all of that, trying to push the perspective of cultural diplomacy and also bringing the sentiments of the people that I connect to into the highest level of decision making in the world.
But that's nice. That's a really nice thing to see, right?
Yes.
Music, just paving a way, music being a mouthpiece, of the people, for the people, by the people
Yes.
who are, putting it out there. That's really nice to see. So that will bring me to this song that we are seeing on our screens right now, Shade Tree.
Yes.
Is a title track.
Yes.
It also, because your upcoming album also is the same title, Shade Tree.
No. The album has not been named yet.
Oh, you've not named the album yet?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Shade Tree
this video?
This video is an advanced single. So what I do is that, this is actually the second single. The first one was Never Bow Down, which was nominated for, Grammy, the last Grammy.
Year, yeah.
And then Shade Tree is the second. So the third single will come out with the album.
Okay, but what did you call this? An advanced
single.
Wait, so take me through what the concept of that is, because this is the first time that I'm hearing what
it's just a single. It's just a single that is going to be on the album.
Okay.
But before you usually put out an album, you put out a single that you use that as like the cornerstone of your promotion, and then the album comes out. So the single is kind of a segue into the album. So for me, I felt that these days people's attention span, people will listen to music for a short period of time and then they move on to the next and all of that. So you have to space out the kind of the rolling out process,
right?
In order for you to build it,
build anticipation.
Build anticipation towards the album.
But the album is coming next year.
It's coming next year.
Do you know when next year it's coming?
No, not next year is an open.
Well,
it starts from January and ends in December.
So it can be any time.
Anytime within that framework, the album will come out. But for now, this song I feel it really expresses the sentiment of the times that we live in. I mean, you only have to look at the world and see how divided it's become.
Right.
How the forces of hatred have been really elevated everywhere. How, people without voices are being swept under and with impunity, a lot of injustice all around the world. Even locally, when you look, people are going through a lot of hardships. Whether it's economic hardships or and then the politics is even much more divided than it's ever been.
Yeah, you're bringing me to my next question.
Yes, and then the language has become even vitriolic, and people are at each other's neck. So I felt that there's an importance for music that went above all of that and stressed on the commonality. Shade Tree is about a place of agreement, a place where everybody can walk. It doesn't matter where you are walking in from. It doesn't matter what you're thinking. You are welcome to the Shade Tree because we all share the shade. But underneath it, we use the power of dialogue and power of conversation to iron out our differences so that we can find that shared commonality. And I believe that is what we need right now in the world and everywhere.
Level ground.
Way forward. Level ground.
Really important.
Yes.
So the reason I said that you're taking me to my next question was I really wanted to tap your mind on Ghana's economic and political atmosphere at the moment. What are your thoughts on it? Also because you're an activist and you speak, Shade Tree, when I listen to Shade Tree, it sort of like speaks to me on some of these things, even though you're not going straight head on to say it's political or it's economic. It has some tap-ins in there.
I think Ghana's current situation is a very tough one for everybody. It is a very tough one for the people. It's a very tough one for leadership. It's a very tough one for households. Because if you look at the trajectory of how we got here, you got to look at how we got here. How we got here was that, our country, runs on the informal sector. By the informal sector, I mean that, people's businesses, small businesses that people create, they are the initiators of their own, businesses.
All in the spirit of entrepreneurship.
So people created themselves. And that is the biggest part of our kind of national economy. So when everybody was pushing governments to shut down, you see, other countries, you can shut down the economy because the formal sector is the powerful.
Will support it.
Yeah, so the formal sector, you see, because it's institutionalized. So once you shut down the formal sector, you can restart it But here, once you shut down the informal sector, because it's individuals, unless they are giving because most of them, their capital, they need to constantly, so they need to constantly be using their capital, making money and putting it right back in there. Sure. So if they don't have economic activity, then their capital also becomes living money, and then they lose their capital. So when you start it again, those people are not, their businesses are not there. It's all gone.
Right.
So if you're a country that has 70% of your economic activity being determined by the informal sector, I think that we should have had a much more robust, should I say, plan in place to make sure that immediately all of these shutdowns came post it.
Something to support.
Something to support the private sector, the individuals who are, and proactively. And to make sure that these people are able to rise back on their feet to help our economy move forward. We can't move from being an informal economy and all of a sudden the formal sector will come and save it. It doesn't work that way. Right. So I feel that it also provides an opportunity that now, in terms of investment in the youth, investment in entrepreneurship training, investment in agriculture, investment in a national plan, almost like the Marshall Plan. I feel that we talk, there's too much talk. What we need is massive mobilization, action. Yeah. But mobilization, action is one thing. Action is leadership taking the lead and leading, but also mobilization of our people with a plan and with a direction and with an aim, with everybody knowing the role that they have to play, and then elevating all the aspects of our economy, the informal sector, that can now be revitalized and made to flourish so that it can support a new vision of Ghana and our economic recovery.
I just like how you've explained the whole thing. I really like how you've explained it. Let's wheel back to, the music, right?
Yes.
How many songs are going to be on the forthcoming unnamed album? But first of all, have you also run through a list of names, like, over the top of your head? Do you have a list of names? I mean, you may not want to mention, which is okay,
yes, because it's part of the surprise of the album.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing is that the process of albums changes with every project. Every project, prior projects, I would just do that. I've had features. When I did my album Beats of Zion, I had the features with Wiala, with Stoneboy, with Sarkodie, who were all part of that album, and then with this album too, what I do is that after I finish recording, I then look at the different songs and see which songs, like some songs might not need any feature, and there's some songs you'll be like, then they remind you of, okay, if this person, you put this person on, it could really help to kind of put the song in another context and enhance the effectiveness of the song.
Right.
So I have not reached that stage yet in terms of this project. Okay. Now we've done a lot of recordings, and I've not also determined how many songs, because what happens is that you just finish all the recordings and then you look and see, okay, which songs speak to you to be part of this,
that album.
Exactly.
I understand that all of the time there's a chunk.
Yes.
To just now pull from, say, yes, this is what I want. Yes, this is what I want, which is okay. But you did mention a few Ghanaian artists, which will lead me to asking.
No, they had worked with me.
Before.
Prior.
So I'm just saying that will lead me to asking if you have any Ghanaian artists as features on the album, and then also for other creatives as well. What went into deciding to use all of the creatives that you used, because everything comes together in the end, right?
Well, my sound is very diasporian, and it also, it connects, the motherland, Africa, with the diasporian sound, whether it's a fusion of high life, reggae, Afrobeat, and all of that. My sound represents the global sonic and cultural identity of Black people, and then also a sound too that is contemporary now for everybody to relate to. So this album also follows in that same vision.
Okay.
So a lot of, some of the features are going to be diasporian, and then some of the features too are going to be local. And then some of the features too are going to be something too that is much more global and contemporary,
So that it reaches out to everybody.
It reaches out to everybody,
Right.
because an album is it's a testament and a statement of a snapshot into the times in which we live in. To get to a time, people will take an album. When you listen to it, it gives you, kind of a space
like this period,
the period,
Yeah.
because everything else will go away. You know what I mean? But the music is forever. It stays forever.
True.
So through the music, that's why I always talk about artists making sure that your content, what you say, what you with your music, has to be things that you believe in. And every song cannot be about things that are vain. Fun. We all love to have fun. But at the same time, too, the music has to be transcendental, thought-provoking, inspirational. It has to kind of strike a nerve within our social fabric. And I think that when you do that, then the music itself has its own aspires to its own eternity, beyond the time in which
and then even talking about the music going beyond, the artist's lifespan.
Yes.
We can even make reference to Bob Marley. People who were not even born at the time he was alive, still listen to
Michael
the music
Jackson.
today. Michael Jackson.
Everybody listens to Michael Jackson from original stuff. Curtis Mayfield, Isaac Hayes, like all of these artists that did great works. People still go there and pour over their works because there was intention, authenticity, and also
focus on quality.
And a transcendental vision that infused that music and made them period and timepieces.
Now, talking about periods and eras and all of that, right? You've had a wealth of experience in your life. This song, Shade Tree, speaks on, unity and, togetherness, we are one people, but we are not the same and all of that, right? So from your wealth of experience, share with me what a personal life experience will link you to Shade Tree.
Well, the thing is that it all goes back to, I always say that when I grew up, when I grew up, I was a child of the military, but at the same time, my father came from a traditional royal house from Bumbo, my hometown, so his father was the chief there. But when he joined the army and I was born in the barracks, I grew up with every tribe of Ghana, so I learned the language. I spoke Tree was actually my first language.
You speak Tree really well.
Yes, although I'm a northerner, but because I was born here, we all spoke Tree. And then obviously being in Accra area, Ghana, Fanti, because many of the kids were speaking different languages, so you were picking all of these languages. My mom spoke Zima,
And you speak in Zima?
No, I don't speak, but my mom did. And then my father spoke many northern languages, So I grew up in a vision of plurality, of seeing the world beyond myself, and also craving for connection, not only with kind of the tribal systems, but also national systems, religious systems, I started off, my father was Muslim, my mom was Christian, our house, everybody chose whatever religion they wanted, so it was a very fluid yet all-encompassing and accepting environment. So because of that,
I can understand how that would happen. Because then you're not stifled as to this is the tribe you should be, or this is the person you should relate to.
And then you are empathetic to other people's religion. You don't judge somebody that because I'm Christian and that person is Muslim, so I judge him through the spectacles of Christianity. I judge him through the spectacles of the oneness of God. We are all humanity. We are all born from God, and if we all say we're all born, then that means there's something higher than any religion, which is our connection to each other and our connection to God. So I feel that is all my growth and my vision of a unified world, and also my vision of kind of connecting people became the foundation piece for a song like Shade Tree.
There's this thing I always say that, there's one way or the other that our childhood impacts who we are as adults,
Yes.
whether you like it or not. Like,
Yes.
whether you are conscious of it or not, there's always. And you sharing the story, it just puts
But that's
everything
why
in
we have to
perspective.
protect our youth. You see, because right now, this generation, first of all, not long ago, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
Cell phones created, we're like one of the first generations that really has that device. All of a sudden, our community has exploded from being local to global.
Right.
So we are not being influenced only by our culture. We are being influenced by others' culture. And then when you think of algorithmic programming too, we are not the ones programming the algorithm. So we are not programming the algorithm to reflect our cultural aspirations. It's being programmed by other people. And those other people too might not have our interest at stake.
Or they don't even understand.
They don't even understand.
Yeah.
And we have the highest number. By 2030, the 42% of the world will be African. So everybody around the world is trying to figure out how to program, how to program the African youth.
Oh, okay.
You see, so if we don't now start making sure that our youth are focusing on our culture, and all the information they're getting is from this, and you have interest from outside who only wants us to be, if it's going to be an African youth, then they're going to be consumers. So you program them not to be innovators, but to be consumers. So we have to see how we can take all of these blessings, focus on the youth, educate the youth, the pride in our culture, the pride in our land, ethical ability of communal support, supporting each other and helping each other, so that we can be able to create a future that will
forge ahead
will be for us,
right?
And a future that reflects who we are, and a future that reflects our identity and our aspirations.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Now, Shade Tree, I like the video. It's rich. You can tell the quality is crisp. If I can say that.
Thank you.
Really crisp.
Thank you.
But this was shot in Brazil,
Salvador Bahia. Yes,
in Brazil, right?
Yes.
Did you have a special connection to Brazil? Was there anything that informed the decision to shoot in Brazil? Because looking at the video, it seems to me like if you're not told, you just may think that it's somewhere in Ghana as well. The similarities
any part in Africa, it looks so. What I wanted, Brazil has the largest number of black people outside of Africa.
Right.
So that country is one of the most Afrocentric, outposts.
Right.
Our brothers and sisters who were taken here through the transatlantic slave trade, most of them, Bahia represented one of the primary first places where, people from Africa were docked. And started, and big, huge, tribes were moved there. So they started forming an African community there way back. So a lot of the African culture also was kept intact because it was their means of connection to the motherland.
To the motherland.
So when you go, you feel like you just walked up to, Africa that was cut out of Africa and brought across on a ship and pasted there. So for me too, in a time when we are trying to create cultural connection, I want our people here in Ghana and everywhere around the continent to know that our people, they are our people like us too, who are in all those parts of the world, who are yearning for a connection to us. So we have to also look how we can spiritually too be able to reconnect with them and establish that line of communication and that line of connection. I feel that music and video and visuals showing Salvador Bahia, showing people, everyday people, showing the culture, showing the traditions that it's also very similar to us, will be a means by which everybody will be like, what? Is that Brazil? It's just like Africa. Yes, it's just like Africa because it is Africa. So it's a matter of showcasing a bigger idea of Africa.
Okay.
Through the music.
Through the music.
Yeah,
and
so
I
that's
like
why
that.
Brazil, I chose Brazil for that.
I like that. And
Yeah.
I like the trajectory of your music as well. But thank you so much for doing what you do, for being who you are, the activist, the musician, the spiritually in tune person that you are. We really, really appreciate you. And again, best of luck in everything that you're going to be doing with the song and then with the forthcoming album. Fingers crossed. We are here to fully back you in all of your endeavors, right? So yes, thank you so much.